The harsh reality is that if you are surrounded by toxic people, it is your problem for letting them into your life, not theirs. Do not fear, though. I will teach you how to regain control and render them helpless. People that are toxic do not only show up, they feed off your reactions and live on the gaps in your limits, because they are too scared to face the harsh truth that you can outsmart them but not fix them. Most people let them generate chaos. By the end of this video, you will understand that you always had the power to keep your peace. I will share frank and effective strategies for dealing with toxic people. Forgive, but remember, one of the most misinterpreted qualities is forgiveness. Forgiving someone is often seen as a sign of weakness, naivete, or a willingness to ignore the hurt they have caused you. True forgiveness, however, is not any of that. It is not about accepting someone back into your life or forgiving their actions. It is about breaking free from the bonds of bitterness. Years ago, I discovered this the hard way. Alex is the name of a good buddy of mine. I believed we were inseparable. I trusted Alex to keep it private when I confided in them about something really personal one day. However, a week later, I discovered that they had told others about my secret, distorting the facts to present me in the worst possible light. It was a deep-seated betrayal. I was angry at myself for initially putting my trust in them, as well as at Alex. For months, perhaps even years, I carried the rage with me. It seemed like the wound was reopening every time I saw them or even heard their name. I did not understand how much that resentment was dragging me down, but I carried it with me everywhere. I then saw this phrase when I was feeling quite depressed. Resentment is like swallowing poison and expecting the other person to perish. That really got to me. I came to see that I was the one caught in a vicious cycle of hurt and rage, while Alex had moved on and was living their life. I was being punished by my wrath, not them. I decided to forgive, but not in the manner that most people think. I did not invite Alex back into my inner circle or call them up to make amends. Rather, I secretly forgiven them in my own heart. For my own peace of mind, not for Alex's sake, I let go of the rage. The important thing is that I did not forget. I learned so much about trust from that betrayal, specifically who I should trust and who I should avoid. Recalling the betrayal made sure I would not make the same mistake again, but forgiving Alex allowed me to move on without resentment. Although it is sometimes viewed as a sign of weakness, forgiveness is actually the greatest act of strength. When holding on to anger feels justifiable, it takes bravery to let it go. Understanding that forgiveness does not entail allowing someone to harm you again requires discernment. But forgetting is a different matter. You bring the same suffering back into your life when you forget. Forgiveness can be compared to curing a wound. You do not remove the scar, but you also do not continually reopening the wound. The scar serves as a remembrance of the lesson rather than the suffering. It serves as a reminder of your experiences and lessons acquired. Although it does not define you, it influences the choices you make in the future. Forgiveness is an excellent example of the Stoics' emphasis on the importance of emotional self-control. You take charge of the story when you forgive. You do not let someone else's poisonous behavior to control your tranquility. Remembering helps you avoid making the same mistakes twice. I will leave you with this. Forgiving yourself, not the person who wronged you, is a gift. But forgetting is detrimental to your development. Hold on to the lesson. Let go of the bitter and use it as a strength rather than a burden. Restrict your access. I will be honest with you. Not everyone deserves to be at the forefront of your life. Whether they are family, close friends, or coworkers you see on a daily basis does not matter to me. Downgrading someone's access is necessary if they are toxic, depleting, or persistently disregard your boundaries. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it is survival. Feel free to call it harsh. The truth is that I was once a people pleaser. I provided my time, effort, and attention to anyone who asked for it. Even though I had my own problems to deal with, I would spend hours on the phone with a friend who only called to whine about their life. Or I would go out of my way to help those who would not do anything for me in return. Does that sound familiar? One day, following yet another exhausting conversation with someone who seemed to believe I was their unpaid therapist, it finally hit me. I was so tired that I hung up and asked myself, why am I doing this? What exactly am I gaining from this relationship? I came to the realization that not everyone should have unfettered access to you at that point. The contentious part is that restricting access does not often entail cutting someone off entirely. Sometimes you need to set boundaries that are so subtle that they are not even aware you have done so. Say something like, "Wow, that sounds tough," in response to that person who always vents their troubles to you. How do you anticipate handling it? When you stop encouraging them to be negative, you will notice how fast they lose interest. Or consider that relative who constantly critiques your life decisions. You do not need to defend yourself or dispute. Simply smile, nod, and do not tell anyone about your plans. When they do not have the whole story, their criticism becomes less effective. There was a coworker of mine who loved drama and gossip. "Oh, I am not really into office drama." I would nonchalantly respond each time they cornered me in the break room and said, "You will not believe what so-and-so did," before leaving. At first, it was awkward, but guess what? They ceased attempting to include me in their absurdity. Recognizing that not everyone should have backstage access to your feelings and energies is the first step in limiting access. It is about building layers, with outer rings for energy vampires and inner circles for people who inspire you. Yes, some people may call you cold or aloof for doing this, but consider this. Do you want to be respected by the right people or liked by everyone? Now for the fun part. Picture your life as a VIP club. Not everyone makes the list, and you are the bouncer, the poisonous whiners, entrance for everybody. The queens of drama. From the parking lot, they can observe. And those who genuinely appreciate and value you. They are enjoying the nice stuff with you in the VIP lounge. Restricting access is a logical move, not a cruel one. You only have so much time and energy. Do not spend them on unappreciative individuals, because the truth is that the proper people will value you once you begin to value yourself. And the incorrect ones, they will either reveal themselves or change their shape. Win-win. To disarm them, use comedy. Taking poisonous people lightly can sometimes be the best course of action. Tension is what toxic people live on. They thrive on conflict, drama, and arguments. What occurs, though, if you deny them what they desire? You play along just enough to deflate their ego, smile, or throw a joke instead of arguing back. It is similar to deflating a balloon. Their impressive performance abruptly fails. I recall a particularly poisonous coworker who enjoyed criticizing everyone. For this guy, nothing was ever good enough. Not even the way people drank their coffee or their work attire. They made the decision to publicly criticize my disorganized workstation one day. "Your desk appears to have been struck by a tornado." They hissed, "How could you even find anything in this mess?" Rather than defending myself or taking offense, I shrugged and remarked, "You are completely right. My creative turmoil is this. I am definitely headed for greatness because Albert Einstein's desk was messier than mine." The group chuckled, and they totally failed in their attempt to make me look foolish. They did not bother me about my desk again after that. For several reasons, comedy disarms poisonous people. It deprives their words of their potency. You might let them know that their attempts to harm you are ineffective by laughing at their taunts or insults. It modifies the interaction's energy. Negativity is what toxic people desire. They frequently cannot manage the levity and unpredictable nature of humor. It gives you authority. You can annoy them more than any direct confrontation by remaining composed and humorous while demonstrating your unwavering resolve. The secret, though, is that your humor must be light and witty rather than harsh or scathing. The situation may worsen if your joke comes out as cruel or sarcastic. Making their negativity seem absurd without lowering oneself to their level is the aim. For example, you could say, smiling, if someone keeps interrupting you during a meeting. Whoa, I had no idea that today we were playing tag team speaking, but now when it is your turn, it is mine. It is humorous yet firm, and it makes its point without needless confrontation. When toxic people try to guilt trip you, humor can also help. Say something like, "You are on to me. I have been auditioning for the role of horrible friend, and it looks like I am nailing it." In response to someone who says, "Oh, I guess you are too busy to worry about me these days." It keeps things light while deflating their deceptive strategy. You are not negating the gravity of their toxicity by using humor. It indicates that you are not going to allow them to pull you into their negativity. It is a subdued method of demonstrating your strength and letting them know that you do not mind their attempts to manipulate or minimize you. Recognize when to leave. One of the most difficult yet freeing choices you will ever make is to leave a poisonous individual. Regaining your time, energy, and calm is more important than simply getting out of a horrible environment. The worst part is that it is not always abrupt or dramatic. Knowing when to go can often be as simple as repeatedly silently choosing yourself over their chaos. People who are toxic are really good at persuading you to stay. Sayings like, "I am sorry, I will change," or "if you go, you are giving up on me," are examples of guilt tripping. Furthermore, there is always a part of you that questions whether leaving makes you a bad person. Let us face it. The fact is, however, that remaining in a relationship that drains you, whether it be a sexual relationship, friendship, or familial bond, is not honorable. Rather, it is self-destructive. There was a good buddy of mine who was a nightmare in private yet the life of the party. They talked about their drama, their demands, and their issues all the time. They would either ignore it or make it into a contest if I ever discussed my personal difficulties. "Oh, did you have a rough day? Let me share mine with you." My first reaction was to justify them. They do not intend it. They are going through a lot. However, as the months stretched into years, I came to the realization that I was giving this relationship my all and receiving nothing in return. A crisis in my life was the tipping moment. "That sounds awful, but I am dealing with my own things right now," was their reaction when I reached out to them. It dawned on me then that their malice was not the reason they were toxic. They just did not care, which is why they were toxic. When I eventually made the decision to go, it was painful, but it also felt like a huge burden had been removed. It is not always necessary to cut someone off entirely in order to walk away. It could appear as cutting back on communication, ceasing to answer all calls, or instantly replying to all texts. Allow them to become inconspicuous in your life. Establishing boundaries. "I do not think I can help you with that anymore," or "I am not available to talk about this," are polite but strong ways to back off. Emotionally detaching is letting go of their beliefs or actions, even if you see them or talk to them occasionally. The contentious aspect is that walking away can occasionally entail leaving a culture that you are expected to maintain ties with, such as family. It is damaging and out of date to think that you have to put up with toxic relatives just because they are kin. Blood ties do not give someone the right to take advantage of, control, or mistreat you. You do not have to dislike them to walk away. It indicates that you have made the decision to defend yourself. The deeper takeaway is that leaving is not an expression of rage. It is an act of love. Love for your life, for your well-being, for yourself. "I deserve relationships that inspire me, not ones that pull me down," is what it is saying. When you eventually leave, you will come to the profound realization that you were not simply leaving them. Rather, you were moving in the direction of a happier, healthier version of yourself. Leaving does not imply failure or surrender. It indicates that you have been successful in realizing your value. It is common for toxic people to make you feel inadequate, too much, or somehow at fault. But as soon as you take a step back, you will realize that it was always them and never you. The nicest aspect is that you may surround yourself with people who value you and treat you as such after you go away. 5. Be in the company of positive people. It can be like attempting to swim with weights attached to your ankles when you have to deal with toxic people. Their drama, manipulation, or negativity drags you down all the time. Being surrounded by positive people is the best remedy. Not only do positive people make you feel better, but they also help you avoid negative energy, remind you of your value, and support your personal development. The basic fact is that you are shaped by your surroundings. You will unavoidably pick up some of the behaviors, mindsets, or even worldviews of those you spend the most of your time with if you are around toxic individuals. You begin to see the best in yourself, though, when you are around by people who truly want the best for you. Consider this. Have you ever spent time with a friend who made you feel lighter afterward? Someone who pushes you in a way that feels empowering rather than patronizing, listens without passing judgment, and celebrates your victories without envy. You should look for those positive people. There was a time in my life when I was caught up in a vicious cycle of unhealthy relationships. I met a new coworker one day who was genuinely upbeat and pleasant. "You are so good at this. Why do not you take the lead?" they would suggest. Or, "You did a great job with that circumstance." I was surprised at how sincere their encouragement was. I eventually came to the realization that I had been so accustomed to receiving backhanded praise and subtle digs from toxic people that I had no idea what true support felt like. I realized what I had been missing when I spent more time with them and others like them. They made no effort to subvert, compete, or influence. Rather, they encouraged me to have confidence in myself and to be more selective about the people I let into my life. Here's how to be in the company of positive people. Find your tribe by seeking out people that motivate, inspire, and uplift you. These could be mentors, longtime friends, or even strangers. Invest in meaningful relationships rather than attempting to keep up a wide network of superficial contacts. Concentrate on strengthening ties with a select group of genuinely inspiring individuals. Relationships are a two-way street, so return the favor. Be the positive influence you desire in your life by genuinely listening, encouraging, and celebrating people. The contentious issue is that even if someone has been in your life for years, you may need to break off or limit your contact with them if they do not inspire you. Although loyalty is a wonderful quality, it is not worth giving up your mental health for someone who constantly drains you. The deeper takeaway: being around positive people does more than just make you feel good. They serve as a reminder that life is best enjoyed with people who appreciate you the most. Simply by believing in you and creating room for your potential, they assist you in becoming the version of yourself that you were destined to be. The truth is that toxic people will attempt to persuade you that everyone is as egotistical, resentful, or cunning as they are. Positive people, however, reveal a different reality. They serve as a reminder that true connection, kindness, and respect are still present, and after you have experienced them, you will question why you ever accepted anything less. 6. Do not participate in their games. Chaos is what toxic individuals thrive on. They manipulate, provoke, or control you by tugging strings, much like emotional puppeteers. They may use subtle tactics, such as guilt-tripping you into doing something you do not want to do, or they may use overt tactics, such as inciting drama to gain attention. The sole means of victory: give up playing. Avoid playing their games at all costs. The problem is that toxic people are quite skilled at luring you in. They will say things that are intended to irritate you or put you in a position where you feel compelled to react. But they have won as soon as you fall for their trick. You are playing by their rules and on their territory. You deprive them of their authority and abandon them to fumble in their own mess by refusing to interact. Dealing with a particularly poisonous family member who enjoyed starting confrontations at events is something I recall. Passive-aggressive remarks such as, "It must be good to have so much spare time," would be thrown out. Some of us put forth a lot of effort at work. I would initially attempt to justify my decisions or explain myself, but it would only make everything worse. They would misrepresent me, intensify the dispute, and somehow paint me in a negative light. I stopped playing their game one day. I simply grinned and responded, "You are entitled to your opinion, before changing the topic when they made another crude comment. They made another attempt, but I remained composed and uninvolved. Their expression was one of frustration. They were not receiving the desired response. They eventually stopped focusing on me, since I would not give them the drama they so desperately wanted. Refusing to engage isn't about being passive, it's about being strategic. Here's how you can master this skill. 1. Recognize the bait. Pay attention to the patterns. What triggers you? How do they try to provoke you? Once you spot their tactics, you can prepare to respond differently. 2. Stay calm. Toxic people want an emotional reaction. Keep your composure and don't let their antics dictate your mood. Respond minimally or not at all. Sometimes silence is your best weapon. 3. Set boundaries. Make it clear that you won't entertain their behavior. For example, "I'm not going to argue about this," or "let's talk when you're ready to have a productive conversation." The controversial part: refusing to engage can sometimes mean walking away from an entire conversation, even if it feels rude or awkward. Remember, your peace is more important than maintaining superficial politeness. In the end, dealing with toxic people is about choosing yourself over their chaos. It's about setting boundaries, walking away when necessary, and surrounding yourself with those who uplift and inspire you. While it may be difficult at first, reclaiming your peace and protecting your energy is always worth it. Remember, you deserve relationships that nurture and empower you, not ones that drain or diminish your spirit. Stay true to yourself and never settle for anything less than the respect and positivity you deserve. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own strategies in the comments below.